back to Psychonaut Sessions, your home for all things psycho. Halloween month. We're looking at scary, horror-centric things, ladies and gentlemen. hmm I'm going to continue and finish off my Black Lamb series, the awesome horror, sci-fi, gothic, dystopian, techno series by Grateful Dead artist Timothy Truman. I love this series so far. Had a few, pieces where I'm like, the last issue, and we'll get to that this issue. But the one thing that has been perfectly consistent is the level of design and the composition and paint job on the covers themselves. Absolutely, just 100% excellent work by Timothy Truman. Every cover in this series I could have as a movie poster, and that's really what you want. You want a cover that somebody's going to want to hang on their wall, that you want to have stand out on the racks. I really love the choice here, just kind of this, black line separating these two opposing images on the right and left hand side. Blue and yellow have been kind of a strong color that he's used in this series to kind of be a dividing factor of like just to represent the polarity of light and darkness. Even though they're all monsters, there are good monsters and then there are bad monsters. And then red has also been a heavily prominent thing. So just like the colors have very much matched the cloak of the main character itself. Really cool. And very interesting to note that, these are highly prominent superhero colors. Superman himself is, red, yellow, and blue. And these are colors that a lot of very prominent superheroes utilize a lot. They're primary colors. They are dominant. They do something to the eye. People get drawn to them for some reason, and I find it very interesting that Timothy Truman was able to do that with a horror, vampiric, gothic centric character, and still not be hokey either. I mean, there's kind of some hokey elements to this, but anyway, these last two issues are one basic storyline, and Black Lamb mythos, and in typical Black Lamb style, we get a sequence of the past. We've got this woman here who's bathing in blood and obsessed with blood, and she is like basically taking the blood of children and the innocence and bathing in it and drinking it. And this is sometime in the past. Black Lamb comes in, kills her, slays her, takes her baby, and this servant like takes her baby and runs off out into the night to take the baby to the father. And the father is none other than Vlad the Impaler, the original Dracula. This is Red Knight, Black Knight, Part 1. So, very interesting. So we have Dracula himself, Vlad Dracul, as the antagonist here. So he's got a baby that he made with this woman he was trying to make as a vampire, takes the baby, so the baby's a vampire. So I think you can guess how this is all going to play out. Back into the future, we've got this one preacher who was featured in the last issue. He's been around preaching his whatever shtick. It doesn't really matter. But these vampires break in and decide to feast on all the humans. Now the big thing is about the human world and the monster world needs to stay separate, and there's been a big thing about humans getting attacked by monsters and that being a breach of monster etiquette, really, or monster society. And we get the little boy from the very first issue witnesses these humans being slaughtered and is like, you shouldn't be doing that. And the monsters are like, you little cretin, and take the little boy away. Um, so there's another bad section of monsters. We get this like scene of this guy who was running for president, and he's like in a commercial to like sell stuff because he's also a salesman. His name's Sam Yonga of Yonga Mart. So that's a sequence that we're seeing. I was like, I don't understand why that's being shown. I guess just to remind us that it's not a Victorian environment, that there are electronics. I don't know. But we get the cop here, and this homeless dude is like setting him up a meeting with Black Lamb. And so they meet again, and it's a whole shtick regarding the humans have been killed again. It was all your kind, vampires. We need to get this taken care of. So it's kind of like a reluctant cooperation, I guess, a reluctant team up because they both still don't want to work with each other, but the human guy needs some information. So I thought this was really interesting. Sam Parsons decided to just, this was blank before, and Sam Parsons fully paints without any kind of ink work. Black Lamb's claw playing up. I love that fact that the vampires in this have like claws for feet. So back in Monster Society, Black Lamb comes to the enclave of monsters that that are like the government of monsters, who are meeting, and there's obviously conspiracy afoot. And they're like, yeah, well, we wanted to wait to tell you until we figured out what was going on, but there is a contingent of monsters that are rebelling, and they're trying to actually like take over and also take over humans. And we haven't told you yet because we were trying to figure it out internally first, but yeah, we're going to need your help. And in the midst of that, these monsters that are there in the enclave decide to make an attack. So they've like infiltrated even the inner circle. So they definitely need his help, and so Black Lamb is on the case. Yeah, just again, the coloring choices are really great. And if you're noticing, not even on the character herself, but the very strong leaning of the blues and the yellows and the reds. So thematically, it's just all aesthetically working together really well. So this is that little girl, Dracula's daughter, basically. She's leading this contingent of bad vampires. They want to take over the world. Her and Dracula want to take over the world. Her name's Countessa. And they have that little boy captured, and they're trying to get him to come over to the side of the bad guys. But he's like, no, we can't. It's against monster law. And these guys are like, screw that, and they're going to feed on the boy and everything. And here we get a image of Dracula. Now I started noticing something here, but I'll talk about that in the next issue. But yeah, so Count Dracula, who's dressed like Grimjack, him and his daughter are going to take over. And Black Lamb is going back to some of the characters that we saw in the previous issues, like this werewolf guy and others, and he's recruiting people. He's like, there's this big rising threat. It is Dracula. It is the big kahuna. We need everyone. Even the cop guy is coming to help. And we've got all these monsters. There's the Walt Whitman monster, and there's a few others, including the homeless guy. So Black Lamb is gathered the best of the best. I love this like pumpkin-headed dude. I am a sucker for any kind of pumpkin-headed monster. Jack-o'-lantern headed, like I am 100% in all the way. All the way. I don't know what it is. I'm a Halloween fanatic. It's Halloween month, but that just like, you give me that, I am 100% in. And I was disappointed because we don't actually see a lot of that character. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here. We're going to go love this cover, love just the all red, the highlight. We get a scene of some of the monsters. I don't see Pumpkin-Headed Guy. Well, there's him briefly. But you can barely see him. He's hooded. Why do you have him hooded, Mr. Truman? You should have put Pumpkin-Headed Guy right on the front. And why do we see this werewolf dude? Why not Walt Whitman dude? What's going on? Anyway, so we get the continuation of this. Countessa, love this. Love uh, the background, the format of the framing of this entryway, the design of it. Again, I love the clawed feet. 100% in on all of that. So yeah, here we go. So this is just a random dude being fed on. We got the little boy still chained up, and Dracula and Countessa are plotting the takeover of the world. We got another scene of this guy coming on again, Yonga Mart, and Black Lamb leading our people. There's Pumpkin-Headed Guy into the night. Now this is where I started noticing, and it's a huge difference between what the earlier issues had in terms of the quality of the line work. And it seems like Timothy Truman's starting to rush a little bit. Like the either that, or again maybe this was all done on smaller paper and it's blown up. But there's something about the way the line work is done. Like not as much time is being taken into the line work. So I'm starting to notice that in this issue. So this fun group of monsters are all teaming up. Here's the Pumpkin-Headed Guy. They are teaming up with the human dude, and they're all trying to infiltrate Dracula's place. I don't know where it is. It doesn't really describe how they found it, where they're going. Just this homeless dude is leading them there because he just knows everything. So he's kind of like the Deus Ex Machina. So it's actually very rushed. They get right in there without a lot of effort, and they come up with this like little plan. So this younger guy comes back into the fray, and basically he's a politician. So they're trying to basically lure this politician in to like have his influence as a part of everything. And again, look how just kind of like this is done. I don't want to say like sloppy, but just definitely doesn't have the level of care and detail that Timothy Truman normally has in his stuff. So it definitely seems like he's being rushed. You see, it doesn't even look like it's just even thumbnailed out as well as some of the other issues. So anyway, they're trying to get this politician on board because they need him to help take over the world, I guess, because people know him. So they're trying to get him to drink the blood of the boy. Now the whole shtick is you don't actually become a vampire by drinking blood. It actually just will drive you mad or fuck you up, or you actually become an immortal vampire through genetics. Like you have to like breed in this world. So they're tricking this guy into doing that, but the boy's like trying to let them know they're tricking you, but he's wanting to do it anyway. I don't know what the point of any of that was because it never explains it. Black Lamb comes in, he just waltzes in. We don't know how he got in there, but he has the human all beat up and presents the human as an offering. Throws him down on the ground and is like, I want to know your plans, I want to work with you. Trying to fool them. See how that just seems really rushed, not very detailed, not very well formatted. The composition really seemed like he was just kind of trying to wrap this up, unfortunately. Well, the cop was playing possum. The colors are still really nice. The cop was playing possum, starts shooting at everybody. Black Lamb immediately takes her out. Again, it's not drawn that great. All the other monsters break in. We barely get to see Pumpkin-headed dude. And we assume there's a bunch of fighting. We don't really get to see it because Black Lamb is just chasing Dracula. They get into a little skirmish. I mean, Dracula just cuts him, and he's got a cut wing, so he can't fly, so he's hanging off the ledge. And then Dracula gets speared from behind, and it's the little boy. And Dracula falls in the chasm, and he's dead. That's it. It's like 2-3 pages. This was like, what? This was what? Again, all of this looks very rushed. It does look like it was drawn on small paper too, and blown up. That's what happened. That looked like that in a previous book I just covered, Skull. In some cases, hate that. It doesn't make me happy. And then that's it. That's the end. They're just like, okay, bye, cop. Maybe we'll see you. Maybe we won't. And he's like, bye, vampire. And him and the boy take off like Batman and Robin almost. It's just like, what? And then that's it. Into the night. And Timothy Truman's like, all right, well, that was it. 6 issues. Thanks. Bye. That's pretty much it. He does say that there was talks of possibly continuing the series. Obviously, that did not happen. Right after this, he did the 12-issue Kent's miniseries with John Ostrander, which they worked on Grimjack together. Very disappointing end. I know they extended it over 2 issues. It still felt really rushed. It felt like this should have been a huge storyline they could have built to for a long time. It was too quick of an end to Dracula. There wasn't a whole lot to the story. Really disappointed. And it felt like his artwork was rushed in the end. Really made me sad. I really loved the first 4 issues of this. 4, I was starting to feel that kind of like, are you really in this? And by these 2, I think he already kind of knew. It's like, okay, we're out. It's done. It was slated for 6. It's probably not going to happen, even though he tries to tease, well, we're kind of in talks, so hopefully. But I think he feels like, this is done. I'm moving on to other things. And this is still good artwork. I mean, I'm not disparaging it. It's still great. The ideas are awesome. There's a bunch of little fun things in it. I enjoyed reading it. But it just felt rushed. It felt like, okay, let me get this out of the way because I'm moving on to other things. But I like the series as a whole. I'm glad I have it. Black Lamb by Timothy Truman. Thank you, sir, for bringing this to the world. Maybe there'll be a revival of it someday. Maybe so. I don't know. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, please. Really helps support me and my channel. I have my own books for sale. Everybody stay safe out there. Keep it psycho.